So now we know what game we want to play, whether we're more versed for B2B or B2C, whether we want to work with high ticket or low ticket. Next step is obvious. It's time to find a team to work with, a company to sell for. So how do we find top tier sales opportunities? No analogy to start on this one, no stories to begin with. This one's gonna be pretty short and sweet with plenty of juice. Today, we're gonna go over how to find top tier sales opportunities. And in the next modules of this phase, we're gonna go over how to actually audit those opportunities so that you can make sure you're working with the best team possible. Let's dive in. Roll intro. Okay, so by now you should know, first things first is we have to set the agenda. In today's lesson, we're gonna hit three main topics. Topic number one is gonna be your social presence. Once that's cleaned up, number two is we're gonna go over the Blitzkrieg method. And then number three, how to actually find top tier sales opportunities. Getting started with number one, your socials. Now, I'll be honest guys, yeah, some large enterprise companies, they're gonna wanna start to see CVs. They're gonna ask for resumes. But for the most part, when you're working in the online world, your first impression, your almost new resume is your social presence. What your Instagram looks like, what your Facebook looks like, sometimes what your LinkedIn looks like, but I'll be honest, that's rarely checked. But today, we're gonna make sure that your IG and Facebook are cleaned up. We're gonna give you 5 top principles to make sure you're hitting on the socials, to make sure that you always have a strong first impression before we even talk to whoever you're gonna be interviewing with. Principle number one, keep it mature. There's a huge difference between professional and mature. And so let me kind of break that down. Let me elaborate. Let's say you are at a party or an event and you have a photo. It's okay 100% to have a photo of you and a friend with a cocktail in your hand. But a photo of you smoking a joint or shotgunning a beer or downing a beer with beer chugs in the background, not cool, not okay, not mature. Drugs, no go. Politics, keep them off socials. Shirtless pics, most of you guys, you just can't do them right. Keep them off the social media. They usually come across as douchebaggy. In general, just keep it gentleman-like. Keep it mature. Think about having a daughter one day if you don't already. Would you be cool with her seeing the man that you're presenting yourself to be? Principle number two is aligned with that first point, but it's that no social media is way better than bad social media. And good social media opens up doors. I'll be honest, up until I started working with Iman, I sucked at the socials. And so I just didn't post anything. My Instagram was nothing, zero posts. And my Facebook was maybe like 3 or 4 photos from a couple of years ago that I scrubbed and were, I know, mature and okay. I just always erred toward the side of having nothing rather than having something that could push somebody the wrong way or give somebody the wrong first impression. It's better always to have no reputation than a bad reputation. It's better to have no social than a bad social. Principle number 3 really applies to most of the students in Educate. I know that you might be bilingual, trilingual, more, but your social should be in one language, and ideally it should be in the language that you're going to be working in or selling in. Companies want to know that when prospects go to your social media, your social presence is a good reflection of the company. And if your social media is in Arabic or Spanish, but you're working with a company that is only working in the English market, it's actually going to be a really unconscious put-off that company has when they're looking at your social presence. The other side to it too is that company owners want to know, if I follow this person, am I going to see something that I don't want to see in general? And so no one who only speaks English is going to want to start to see Spanish posts everywhere. In general, principle number 3, keep your social to the language that you're going to be working in, the market that you're going to be working in, and the company that you're going to be working with. Principle number 4, super quick one, just no memes or motivational posts. No taking reels from other accounts and then putting them on your social and reusing them. It's just a bad look. Keep your social to you, photos of events that you're at. Principle number 4, super easy, super quick. Principle number 5, make sure that your Instagram is following less than 1,000 people. This sounds like I'm trying to micromanage your Instagram, but trust me on this one. I was actually thinking about why this is so important, because I know for me and for anyone else that does a lot of hiring, it's one of the first things we look at. And I think there are 2 main reasons. Number 1 is that business owners, just in general, we get hit by a lot of spam accounts. And one of the first things that a spam account usually has is 1, 2, 3, 5,000 accounts that they're following. And so the first thing is we want to stay as far away from that as possible. Number 2, though, is very high value people are very intentional about the things that they consume and the things that they see on social media. And so a lower following account means that person is being deliberate with what they want to see every single day. But if you're following 1,000 or 2,000 accounts, it almost comes across unconsciously as desperate. And again, that's just something that we want to stay far away from. So principle number 5, make sure your account is in the 3 digits, not 4, on the following. I'll just end all 5 principles to something that we say at Educate internally, and that is just don't be a social media twat. If if ever in question, just remember that. Once you have your socials hitting those principles, then it's time for topic number 2, which is actually outreaching to companies and finding companies to work with. And most sales reps make a huge mistake here. Most sales reps will hit 1 or 2 companies, interview with one, and then start working with that one company. And then what happens is 2 weeks later, they realize, I don't really know if I like this company. 3 weeks in, they're like, yeah, I definitely don't like this company. And then 4 weeks in, they leave or they get let go. And then that cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. And you see sales reps that have 3 or 4 companies that they've worked with in the last 6 months. And they just constantly churn. And it's because they didn't follow the Blitzkrieg method. Quick background, the Blitzkrieg method is not a sales term, it's a war term. For those that don't know, in World War II, Germany, I don't think they founded the Blitzkrieg method, but they definitely were the ones who adopted it and made it kind of known to be what it is today. So if you don't know much about it, in general, anytime there's conflict, what a normal side of a conflict will do is send in some resources, kind of see how things go, send in more when needed. But Germany, they were like, nah, bro, let's just fucking send everything. Let's just balls to the wall, send in everything. And instead of coursing out 3 or 4 months of resources, they would send everything in like 2 days, 48 hours. And it was wildly effective. And even though that's what you do in conflict, there's actually a lot of principles from that we can take in terms of how we outreach to companies to make sure we have leverage when we're talking to the opportunities that we might want to work with. See, the problem most reps have when they only talk to one company, interview, and go with them, and then rinse and repeat, kind of 2 problems. Number 1 is that they start to look like they're just really short-term hires. And companies, they want to work with people who they can invest in, invest time, resources, money. And it's not worth investing into people who are only going to be around for 2 months. And so the first thing that we want to make sure is when we're working with a company, we can stay for years, because that's a really good image on us. That's a good reputation. But the second reason other sales reps are kind of starting in a bad space is because they don't have leverage when they're actually finding opportunities to work with. If they only talk to one company, then they're kind of dependent on trying to make it work with that one company. In the Blitzkrieg method, the principle that founds the Blitzkrieg method in sales is that we want to create leverage. We want to have tons of different options so that we have the ability to choose which is best for us. The actual definition of Blitzkrieg is a short period characterized by an intense effort to do something. And that's exactly what we're going to do when we start outreaching to companies. Let's just really quickly bring this back to an analogy. Let's say that you have to find a wife, and you have 1 day to find a wife. And for the sake of this analogy, let's just say that you're a stud, you're really well off, everyone wants to marry you. Which route or which option do you think is the best option to take to make sure that you have the best leverage in finding a wife for you, and to make sure that you also have the best chance of finding a wife that is good for you so that you can have a good relationship? Option number 1, let's say you're in a crowd and you just look for one girl, and the one girl you talk to is the one girl you pick and talk to, that's the one girl you're going to marry. Versus option B, you're in a crowd and you pick 10 girls and you go on 10 different dates in that one day, and you have 10 different people to compare. Which one do you think is going to give you the best likelihood of actually having a good relationship with somebody for the rest of your life? I'm going to go with option B, right? Because we have leverage. We have 10 different people to compare. We have 10 different people to play with different personalities and see which one we vibe with the best, which one we had the best connection with. Which now I feel like I'm talking about The Bachelor. Anyway, long story short, we want to have leverage, and the best way to create leverage is by having multiple opportunities. And the best way to do that I have found is what I call the Blitzkrieg method. In the Blitzkrieg method, I'm going to have you talk to 50 different companies in 1 week. Intense effort, short period of time. And when I say talk, I don't mean like send messages to 50 companies. I mean actually have conversations, whether it's text or WhatsApp, Instagram, 50 conversations with 50 different companies. And out of those conversations, I want you to pick your favorite 10. Which 10 did you have the best conversations with? Which 10 do you think resonate with you the most? What offers resonate with you the most? And then from those 10, I want you to interview with them, and let's assume that you get 5 offers. And by the way, on the interviews, we're also going to have an entire lesson in this phase on how to interview to make sure that you can try to get 10 offers. But out of the offers you get, I want you then to go and talk to people from that team, to do deep research, talk to clients that work with that company. And now that we have 5 different companies that we're really looking at and identifying and looking at and talking to people, talking to clients, talking to other sales reps there, we have really deep data pools that we can actually make decisions from. And if you really think about it, let's just zoom out for a second. We talked to 50 people, we brought that down to 10, we interviewed, we brought it down to 5, and then from those 5, now we're picking which one we actually want to take. How much more leverage and options do you have to work with there than if you just outreach to one or two like most reps do. See, in this case, what you're actually doing is you're creating roots before you actually work with a company. It's a really common fact when you're hiring somebody that the longer the hiring process is, the more likely they are to stay around in the company for longer. It's actually the same thing on your end too. The longer it takes you to decide to work with a company, the more likely you are to stay with that company for longer periods of time because number one, you're more invested, but number two, realistically, they probably are a good fit for you because you chose them for a certain reason. And so this is leverage. Now we have 5 different offers, 5 different things that we can actually use to even try to negotiate commissions and compensation structure, which we'll also get into. But we have leverage because of the Blitzkrieg method. The other quick little side note too is in the Blitzkrieg method, we have an actual job offer to work with all within 2 weeks, rather than trying to take 1, 2, 3, 4 months to get an offer like most reps do. So that's also pretty badass, but that's like the small byproduct. Realistically, what it gives us is leverage to make sure that we're picking the best company for us. That's the reason I want you to do it. Blitzkrieg method, hashtag 2020 Blitzkrieg method, bring it back, Paul Daly. I don't know if I want my name tied to Blitzkrieg method. That actually might be bad. We'll keep that back in Germany, but Blitzkrieg, fantastic, creates leverage. Zooming out, topic number 1, cleaning up the socials. Topic number 2, once we clean up the socials, outreaching to companies, 50 conversations, 10 favorites, 10 interviews, getting job offers, then dialing in after we get the offers as to which one's the best for us. The question now, topic number 3, is how do we actually find those companies? How do we find different opportunities to work with inside the online remote space? There are 5 main ways to plug in. I really recommend that in your Blitzkrieg method, you focus on 1 to 3. 4 and 5 aren't my favorite, but they do exist, and so I'm still gonna cover them. Diving in number 1. The first way I'd be looking for sales opportunities is by networking inside of the Educate community. Inside of Educate, we have 3 groups of people. Sales reps who are working with companies that could still need more sales reps, business owners who could need sales reps, or copywriters who are making leads that sales reps need to close. So I really don't think that there's a better community in the online space to find businesses to work with than the Educate community. Step number 1, start using that, tapping into that, leveraging that. Really think about that. Every single person in this community is either a business that needs sales reps or someone who is working in a business that needs sales reps. Go in the community and make a post about who you are, what kind of offer you think you'd work best with, what your experience is. Go and connect with other sales reps that you know are crushing it because maybe their sales teams need other sales reps. Go connect with the copywriters. Copywriters are making lead flow for businesses, and that lead flow needs sales reps to close. There's so much opportunity in the Educate community. Just go in, tap in, and leverage it. You've probably heard this already, but your network is your net worth. And you are literally in the most impactful network in the online space. So to not use that in finding other sales opportunities, that'd be like trying to run a marathon with your shoes tied. Use the Educate community. That's step number 1. Second step is actually joining Facebook groups. See, one of the cool things that you can tap into is that business owners want to connect with other business owners. So if there's a SaaS business owner and they want to connect with someone else in SaaS, the way they do that is Facebook groups. And that's the same whether it's dental or info product or any other kind of business model. And the cool thing is you can actually just leverage that to your benefit. You can go join Facebook groups that are filled with business owners and just make a post saying, hey, I'm a hungry, dedicated sales rep looking for a killer offer to work with. I'm in the world's best training. This is what I'm looking for. If you need a sales rep, hit me up, send me a DM. You can even be more proactive and go in the group and send people scripts that I'll have in a plug and play saying it's pretty much the exact same thing with a direct contact. Hit me back if you need it, if you need a sales rep. Facebook to everyday people is a social network where people can just chat. But in the business world, it's actually one of the largest hiring sites in the industry. And so leverage Facebook, just change how you kind of think about it, be creative with it. The only downside to Facebook, also to set precedent, is that the opportunities, while you can find gold in there are also a lot of junk opportunities. And so you have to be able to audit them correctly. That's one of the reasons that in the next phase of this module, we are really going over how to audit opportunities, how to test risk level, how to make sure that we're kind of hitting what we call the golden ratio. That's coming up. But for now, Facebook groups, that's number 2. Number 3 is Instagram. And this is actually my personal favorite, aside from the Educate community, as to how I'd be going about the Blitzkrieg method, because with Instagram, you can really tailor your outreach to companies that work with the people you want to work with and that work in the offers and industries you want to work with, that resonate with you the most. And so number 3, the way you use Instagram is think about what kind of offer you'd want to work with, what kind of industry you want to be in, and then find influencers inside of that industry. And then anyone who usually works in that industry and has an offer will have some kind of book a call or apply sales funnel. And when you see that, you know they need sales reps because those sales reps are taking those calls. Those sales reps are taking the people who apply and turning them into sales. And so all you have to do is DM them. And I'll have an Instagram DM plug and play that you can use under this. And the reason we don't go over it on the call, by the way, is because I want to make sure they stay up to date. So our team always goes in, makes sure those scripts are still working. Instagram is incredibly effective in finding sales opportunities to work with. It's actually my original way of connecting with Iman before I came on to Educate was connecting with him through Instagram. So trust me, personal pick number 3, Instagram. Number 4, and like I said, steps into 4 and 5, they're not my favorite, but it'd be ignorant for me not to talk about them because they are ways that you can find opportunities. Just know that they're not my favorite, and just because they're not my favorite doesn't mean that they're not going to work for you. But number 4 is using LinkedIn and Indeed. And the reason I'm not a huge fan of LinkedIn and Indeed is because the companies that use LinkedIn and Indeed to find talent are as boring as the sites themselves. And there's just not much spice in the companies. And realistically, I just think you're setting yourself up to work in a really dry environment. The other side to it too is on LinkedIn and Indeed, you're just going to be another name and another list of thousands of applicants that are trying to work with them. And so I think it's the most ineffective, inefficient, most boring way of trying to find a essentially boring company. But I do know people who have had some kind of success on there. And so it'd be ignorant for me to not share that with you. Number 5 is one that I really do encourage you to actually stay away from, but you're going to get hit up on these. It's recruiting agencies. And recruiting agencies make their money based on how many reps they place on different teams, and they make commissions to actually incentivize people to try to get you placed on different teams. But the downside of that is they have no actual interest in making sure that it's an opportunity that's going to work for you. And they have no interest in making sure that you have longevity there. And so realistically, you just have someone whose only benefit is to get you anywhere, whether it's going to work well for you or the company or not. And so recruiting agencies, once you're in sales, especially once you start to have a name for yourself, you're going to get hit up all the time. And so I do encourage you to stay away. But that's number 5. That's the 5th way to go about it. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. In the Blitzkrieg method, I'd be using numbers 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. The Educate community, Facebook, Instagram. That said, finding companies to work with after we hit those 3 topics, it's actually a breeze. Think about it just logically. Step number 1 is clean up the social so that we have a better first impression. The reason we do that is so that when we outreach to companies, we're more likely to get a response back. And then after we get responses, we take 50 companies, tailor that down to 10 interviews, and then get offers, and then pick out of the offers that we get which one is the one that vibes and resonates with us the best. And so the Blitzkrieg method gets that all done within 2 weeks. Intense effort, short period of time. Now I know that after going over all of this, you're probably still thinking one big thing, and that is, how do I know which companies are good to work with and which ones aren't? And that's cool, I want you thinking that. And if you are thinking that, I also want to let you know, settle the nerves a little bit. That's what we're going over in the next 2 or 3 videos of this phase. How to identify risk. What red flags look like, what a good offer looks like, how to make sure you're setting yourself up for success and making sure that you play for the best team possible. I'm personally really excited to get into it. I hope you are too. We'll go over that in the next modules. I will see you there. I'll see you in the next lessons. Until then, happy hunting.